Hello and welcome to English Unpacked, the podcast where we break down real English, one expression at a time. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Tom. And today's episode is packed with idioms that are super useful when you're talking about things going really well or going completely wrong.
That's right. Whether you're celebrating success or dealing with failure, English has some super colorful ways to describe both. And the best part? These idioms come straight from real-life conversations.
We're going to cover a couple of idioms and a few great words from a dialogue between two co-workers, Emma and Jake. Let's listen to this dialogue and then we'll guide you through everything, one expression at a time.
Hey, Jake. Wow, I passed by your desk earlier and it looked like you were already on a roll this morning. I swear, every time there's a new project, you hit the ground running.
Thanks, Emma. I guess I just got excited after how well the last campaign went. I mean, seriously, that new strategy we came up with, the customer feedback form, the follow-up emails, even the color scheme. It made all the difference.
I know, right? It's like we tried so many things before and nothing stuck. But this time, everything just worked like magic. The process was so smooth, like the moment we implemented that strategy, everything fell into place. No technical issues, no miscommunication, nothing. It ran like a dream.
Yeah, and what's even better is that the whole department seems to be going from strength to strength lately. It's not just a one-time success. Every project feels like a step up.
Yeah, totally agree. And your idea to include that interactive video, that really did the trick. We were struggling to keep viewers engaged, and then boom, completion rates doubled.
Thanks. That means a lot. But honestly, I try not to see any one project as the be-all and end-all. Sure, this campaign was successful, but there is always more to learn and more ways to improve, right?
That's such a healthy perspective. I remember when management canceled our last campaign. At the time, I was honestly devastated. We had put in so much work. But looking back now, I realize it turned out to be a blessing in disguise.
Exactly. Have you heard about the sales department? They've been doing so well that now they're struggling to keep up. It's ironic. They've sort of become a victim of their own success.
Oh, wow, that's tough. Success is great, but when it brings that kind of pressure, it can be overwhelming. Speaking of pressure, did you hear about Dan in the graphics department? He officially resigned yesterday. Apparently, he felt burnt out and said he just couldn't keep going. It's like he just gave up the ghost.
No way. I didn't know that. Dan was so talented, but I guess everyone has their limits, right? Still, you have to admit, he really left his mark on the team. Because design choices influence the way we present things even now.
Yeah, that's true. Though I don't know how Lisa, the new intern, is going to manage. She's sweet, but honestly, she doesn't have the ghost of a chance of filling Dan's shoes at this stage. She's still learning how to use the design software properly, let alone handle complex campaigns.
Well, everyone has to start somewhere, right? I hope they'd give her time.
All right, let's kick things off on a positive note. Those moments in life when everything just clicks and things go really, really well. So let's dive in with one of my personal favorites. Hit the ground running.
I love this one. It just feels energetic, doesn't it? If someone hits the ground running, it means they start a task or project with a lot of energy, confidence, and readiness from the very first moment. There is no hesitation, no slow start, just immediate action.
Exactly. Think of it like this. Imagine you're at the starting line of the race. Most people might warm up and slowly pick up speed. But someone who hits the ground running, they explode off the line. No delay, full speed ahead.
And we often use this expression in work or school settings. For example, Lisa hit the ground running on her first day at the new job. That means Lisa didn't wait around to get settled in. She understood what needed to be done and started working right away.
It's especially useful when you're talking about people who are proactive, who do not need to be told what to do, right? They just see a need and go for it.
And you can apply to many situations. New job, new semester, starting a business, even moving to a new country.
Imagine someone relocating to London and on day one, they already have their bank account, SIM card, and flat sorted. You'd say she really hit the ground running.
It's also something employers love. If you're doing a job interview in English, this is a fantastic phrase to use.
And just a quick note, don't forget the verb tense, okay? We say hit, not hated, even in the past tense. It's one of those irregular verbs. She hit the ground running. All right, now let's talk about one of those quietly powerful expressions in English. It doesn't shout. It doesn't try to impress with big words. But wow, it carries a lot of emotional weight.
Made all the difference.
When you say something made all the difference, what you really mean is that it had a significant positive impact.
Maybe it didn't solve everything. Maybe the world didn't change. But that one change shifted things enough to really matter. It's that little nudge that turns a bad day into a good one, right, Tom?
Or a failing project into a successful one. And I love how flexible this idiom is. It fits in both personal and professional conversations. Now, let me paint a picture. Imagine you're studying for an exam. You've been cramming for days and nothing is sticking. Then, a friend shows you a mind mapping technique or a new app. Suddenly, things click. That small shift in your approach makes all the difference. You're still working hard, but now it's actually working.
Absolutely, Tom. I actually experienced this during the pandemic. Like many people, I started working from home. And in the beginning, I was all over the place. Tired, distracted, out of sync. But then I made one small change. I started waking up earlier and taking a short walk before work. Just 20 minutes. It didn't seem like much, but it made all the difference. I started my day with a clearer mind, and I felt grounded.
That's such a great example, Sarah. And I think a lot of listeners will relate to that. For me, something similar happened. I used to keep all my tasks on apps and online calendars, but I always felt overwhelmed. Then one day, I went back to good old-fashioned pen and paper. Just the handwritten to-do list on a notebook next to my laptop. And would you believe it? That tiny little change made all the difference in how I stayed organized. Less distraction, more clarity.
And what I love is that it's not just about tools or routines. You can use this expression to talk about people, support, even emotional experiences. Like having a mentor during my first year of teaching made all the difference.
Here is another one. That one compliment from my manager made all the difference in how I saw myself. Also, notice the structure here. We often say something made all the difference in something. For example, sleep made all the difference in my mood.
Her advice made all the difference in my decision-making.
So, next time something small creates a big shift in your learning, in your habits, or even in your relationships, say it with confidence. That made all the difference. Try using it in your journal or even on social media. Just 10 minutes of deep breathing before bed made all the difference. Sounds real, honest, and mature.
Beautifully said, Tom.
Okay, now let's move on to a phrase that I personally find so satisfying to say. It's loaded with positivity. Worked like magic.
When we say something worked like magic, we mean that it solved a problem quickly, effectively, and often in a way that felt almost effortless, even a little bit mysterious.
It's that feeling when you get when something just clicks, right? When something works so well that you almost can't believe it. You might not even understand why it worked. You just know that it did, and it did it brilliantly.
Exactly, Tom. Imagine you've been trying to calm a baby for an hour. Nothing is working. Then suddenly, you start humming a random lullaby, and the baby instantly relaxes. You turn to someone and say, "Wow, that worked like magic."
Yeah, and that's the tone this idiom often carries. Surprise, a little joy, and a dash of disbelief. And dash here means a little bit, just a little bit.
All right, one of my favorite real-life examples, and I think a lot of listeners will relate. This was when I had a sore throat last winter. I tried tea, lozenges, everything. Nothing helped. Then a friend told me to try hot water with honey and lemon. I thought, really? That's it? But I gave it a try. And boom, worked like magic. Within minutes, my throat felt soothed, and I could speak again.
I love that story. And it's not just about health or home remedies. You can use this phrase in relationships, in learning. What else, Sarah?
In business.
So, if you ever had a moment where something solves a problem in a way that felt smooth, fast, and kind of amazing, that's your moment to say, "It worked like magic." Shall we follow this up with another dreamy idiom? One that keeps the magic going?
Yeah, let's do it. Up next, something that runs like a dream.
Okay, next idiom is what I like to call the elegant cousin of worked like magic. It's smooth, satisfying, and it's often said with a smile and a little sigh of relief. Runs like a dream, or in past tense, ran like a dream.
Yeah, this is one of those idioms that just feels good to say. When you describe something as running like a dream, you're saying that it operates or functions flawlessly. It's that feeling when everything is working just as it should.
Like smooth sailing. No bumps, no glitches, no stress. This idiom is most commonly used when we're talking about machines or devices.
Yeah, true. Anything mechanical or technical.
For example, you might say, "I took my car to the garage for a full service, and now it runs like a dream." That basically tells the listener, no weird sounds, no stalling, no lights flashing on the dashboard, just a nice, quiet, smooth ride.
And it's not just about being functional. When you say something runs like a dream, you're also saying it is a pleasure to use. You're saying this isn't just working. This is working beautifully.
Exactly. I got a new laptop last month, and for the first time in years, I didn't have to wait 10 minutes for it to boot up or get annoyed at the fan sounding like a helicopter. Everything loads in seconds, even with 20 tabs open. I told my friend, "Man, this thing runs like a dream."
And fun fact for learners, this idiom is very commonly used in British English, but you'll hear it in American English too. It's got that slightly poetic, expressive tone to it. Very conversational, but still elegant.
Yeah, and you know what's cool, Sarah? It's not limited to machines. You can also use ran like a dream when you're talking about events or projects that go smoothly.
Exactly. Like the wedding ran like a dream. That tells you that everything went exactly according to plan. The guests arrived on time, the food was perfect, the music started at the right moment, no awkward delays.
Or the conference ran like a dream. The speakers were engaging, the tech worked perfectly, and even the coffee was good.
And here's a tip for language learners. If you're writing an email to a colleague, a friend, or even a client to let them know something went well, this is a great way to add warmth and confidence. Instead of saying everything went fine, you can say it ran like a dream. It adds personality and positivity.
Okay, one more quick note. Make sure you use run in the correct tense. In the present, we say, this machine runs like a dream. And in the past, everything ran like a dream.
I've heard learners say things like, it runned like a dream. Nope, that's incorrect. It's an irregular verb. Run, ran, run.
That's a good reminder. So next time your new blender, your meeting, or even your weekend getaway goes flawlessly, you've got the perfect phrase. Just lean back and say, that ran like a dream. Okay, next up, we have one of the most encouraging idioms in the English language. It's full of hope, full of momentum. Going from strength to strength.
When we say someone or something is going from strength to strength, we mean they're not just doing well. They're doing better and better over time. Each step forward brings more success than the last.
Exactly. It's not a one-time win. It's a pattern of growth. Imagine climbing a staircase, but instead of getting tired, you're getting stronger with every single step. That's the image this idiom gives us.
Beautifully said, Tom. And we say it a lot when we're talking about progress, especially in areas like personal development. What else, Tom?
Business? Education?
Yeah, or creative projects.
Let me give you an example. Since launching their business, they've gone from strength to strength. This means that their products keep getting better, their customers keep growing, and they keep hitting new goals.
It's like they're riding this wave of success, and each wave is bigger than the one before. All right, Tom, let's pause for a second on the word you just used, momentum. That can be a tough one for some learners, right? Can you break that down?
So momentum means the energy or force that keeps something moving once it's started. Imagine pushing a heavy ball. At first it's hard, but once it starts rolling, it gets easier and faster. That's momentum.
Exactly. And going from strength to strength is like having unstoppable momentum. Once things start going well, they just keep getting better. Here's a real-life example. A small bakery opens in a neighborhood. At first, it's just a few customers. But then people fall in love with the bread. The word spreads, they add more items, they hire staff, and soon they're winning awards. You could say the bakery has gone from strength to strength since opening.
I love that. And here's another one, personal growth. Imagine someone who starts learning English. In the beginning, They struggle with basic conversation, but they stay consistent. A few months later, they can hold a full conversation in English, and eventually, they're giving presentations at work in English. That learner has truly gone from strength to strength.
And I'd say that phrase has a really motivational vibe, too. It's not just a report of what's happening. It's also a kind of praise.
When you say someone is going from strength to strength, you're admiring their growth. You're saying, wow, you're crushing it. You're unstoppable.
Exactly, Tom. It's definitely a compliment, and quite an elegant one, too. You could tell a friend, I've been watching your progress in the gym. You've gone from strength to strength.
Or say to a colleague, your presentations have gone from strength to strength since last year.
Now, here's a tip for our listeners. If someone is making constant improvement, not dramatic, overnight success, but, slow, consistent progress, this idiom is a perfect fit. Use it to encourage others or even to talk about yourself with confidence.
So, to wrap it up, going from strength to strength is all about ongoing success, steady growth, and that feeling of, yes, I'm on the right track, and I'm getting stronger every day. All right, next up, we have an idiom that is short, snappy, and super practical.
Something you'll hear in casual conversation all the time. Does the trick. Or, it did the trick.
I love this one. It's not fancy, it's not dramatic, but it's so useful. When we say something does the trick, we mean that it solves a problem. It fixes a situation or produces the result we wanted, often with just the right amount of effort.
Exactly. It's like saying, yep, that worked. That was enough. And the cool thing is, Tom, the solution doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to work.
Imagine you're trying to hang a picture on the wall, but you don't have a nail, so you use a thumbtack instead. It's not ideal, it's not fancy, but it does the trick. The picture stays up. Problem solved.
That's such a classic example. And here's another one. You're tired, you've got a headache, and you drink a big glass of water. 10 minutes later, you feel better. You say, that did the trick. It means it worked. Nothing complicated, nothing magical, just effective.
Now, let's break down the word trick for a second, because it might confuse some learners. In this case, trick doesn't mean a magic trick or something sneaky, right?
In this idiom, trick just means the right solution, the right action to get the result you need.
Exactly. And it's a natural phrase in English. You'll hear it in homes, offices, cafes, anywhere. It's informal, but polite and very common.
Here is another example. I once had a student who was really struggling to stay focused during self-study. So I suggested something small, using a timer for 25-minute study blocks. That was followed by a short break, right? The next week, she came back and said, "That totally did the trick. I studied for 2 hours without losing focus."
That's the kind of situation where this idiom shines. It's often used when a simple or unexpected fix actually works better than you thought it would.
All right, now let's give a few more examples. I'll give the first one. I was hungry, but didn't want a full meal. A banana did the trick. Now, can you give another example, Tom?
Yeah, sure. We didn't have glue, so we used tape. It did the trick.
Perfect. Here's another one. I was nervous before the interview, but a quick walk did the trick and helped me calm down.
So, to our listeners, try using this one when you want to say that something worked well enough. It's not about perfection, it's about functionality. Did it get the job done? If yes, then you've got yourself a great moment to say, that did the trick. All right, let's talk about an idiom that brings a little light to dark situations. This idiom helps us see the silver lining in difficult moments, a blessing in disguise.
When we say something was a blessing in disguise, we mean it seemed bad at first, but later turned out to be a good thing.
Exactly. So imagine something happens. You're disappointed, maybe even upset, but later you realize it led to something better. That's your blessing in disguise.
Now, let's slow it down for a second and look at the phrase itself. The word blessing means something positive, something good, right?
Right, something that brings benefit, happiness, or peace.
And disguise means something is hidden or not what it appears to be. Like when someone wears a costume, they're disguised.
So a blessing in disguise literally means a good thing that was hidden behind a bad appearance.
You didn't recognize it as a blessing at first. It looked like a problem, but over time, it revealed itself to be exactly what you needed.
Let me give you a personal example. A few years ago, I applied for a job I really wanted. I thought I was perfect for it. I did the interview, got to the final stage, and then I didn't get it. I was so disappointed. But a month later, another opportunity came up. One I never would have considered before, and that ended up becoming the best job I've ever had. Now, looking back, that rejection was a blessing in disguise.
Hell, I've had moments like that too. During the early days of the pandemic, I lost some of my freelance clients. At first, I panicked, but that free time gave me the chance to start creating English content online. And that opened up so many doors I never expected. Losing those clients? Definitely a blessing in disguise.
Now, Sarah, let's give our listeners a few more sentence examples. Losing that apartment was actually a blessing in disguise. I found a better one closer to work. It's your turn, Sarah.
Sure, getting sick forced me to slow down, which turned out to be a blessing in disguise.
Here's another one. Failing the exam felt awful, but it was a blessing in disguise. It pushed me to rethink my study habits.
So, to our listeners, the next time something doesn't go your way, a canceled plan, a missed opportunity, a sudden change, pause and ask yourself, could this be a blessing in disguise? Okay, up until now, we've been discussing the idioms that celebrate success, progress, and smooth sailing.
But hey, life isn't always perfect, right? Things don't always go from strength to strength. So now, we're going to shift gears and explore expressions we use when things don't go so well.
Or when success itself creates unexpected problems.
And the perfect way to start this section is with one of the more ironic expressions in English, a victim of one's own success.
Yep, this one's full of paradox. A paradox, by the way, is when two ideas that seem opposite Actually, both turn out to be true. So here is the paradox. You work hard, you do well, you succeed. But then your very success creates new difficulties.
So strange, but so real. This idiom, a victim of your own success, means your success leads to unexpected negative consequences. You've done such a good job that it actually becomes a problem. Now, Sarah, let's give a concrete example. Imagine a tiny cafe opens in a quiet neighborhood. It's cozy, charming, and the coffee is amazing. Word spreads. People love it. Business booms. But suddenly, it's too popular. There aren't enough tables, the staff is overwhelmed, and the customers start complaining about long waits. The owner, a victim of her own success.
Exactly. She didn't do anything wrong. In fact, she did everything right. But now she's dealing with the pressure that comes from her own achievements.
Yeah, and this idiom can be used for individuals, companies, even products. Here is a tech example. A small startup creates an amazing app. It goes viral, but they don't have enough servers or staff to keep it running smoothly. What happens? They crash. The app breaks. Users get angry. They become a victim of their own success.
That's a very interesting example. Now, let's bring it back to real life. Maybe one of our listeners is a teacher. You have a student who gets perfect scores on every single test. So what happens? Expectations get higher and higher. If they get a 90 instead of 100, people act like they failed. They're doing great, but they still feel the pressure.
That's a classic case of someone becoming a victim of their own success. Now, let's offer a few more sentence examples. I'll give the first one. Her blog became so popular that she couldn't keep up with all the emails. She's a victim of her own success. Can you give the next example, Sarah?
Yeah, sure. The product launch was such a hit that they ran out of stock on day one. Classic victim of their own success.
Perfect. Here is another one. He volunteered to help out with one project, did an amazing job, and now he's expected to lead everything. Total victim of his own success.
All right, so this idiom is great to use if you want to sound thoughtful, insightful, or slightly humorous.
It shows that you understand how success isn't always smooth and that you're aware of the pressures that come with it.
So, what's next on the list of when things don't go quite right, Tom?
Now we're going to get a little spooky. Giving up the ghost. But don't worry, it's not as scary as it sounds. The next idiom on our when things go wrong list sounds like something out of a haunted house movie. Give up the ghost.
Oh, don't worry. We're not talking about actual ghosts or supernatural stuff here.
No, we're not.
This is just one of those classic English phrases that has old roots and a very modern usage, of course.
So let's start with the meaning. When we say something or someone has given up the ghost, we're usually talking about something that has stopped working or someone who has stopped trying, often because they realize there is no point continuing.
So let me give you a very real example from last week. My old toaster suddenly stopped working. I plugged it in, nothing. Tried every outlet, nothing. And I just sighed and said, well, it's finally given up the ghost. That's it. It's done. Time for a new toaster.
Exactly. And you can use this for all kinds of things. A car that won't start, a phone that refuses to charge, A computer that crashes for the 10th time that day, you just throw up your hands and say, "It's given up the ghost."
It's given up the ghost. And the cool thing is that it doesn't have to be machines. You can also use it for people, usually in a humorous or exaggerated way.
For example, if someone's trying to finish a huge report at 2 a.m. And they finally say, "I can't do this anymore. I give up the ghost." It means I'm done. I'm exhausted. I can't keep going.
So, don't forget that this idiom is usually in the past tense. You'll most often hear, "It gave up the ghost." You probably won't hear people say, "It gives up the ghost" in the present.
Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more podcasts.